This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Whirlpool Duet washing machine that has a burned out motor. We're going to be replacing the motor. So this is the part number. Here's what the motor looks like. Here's one available on Amazon. They seem to be about the same price on the internet, somewhere around $250. And this one was just burned out. It had a burnt smell. It's giving a F11 error code. So we're going to unplug it. I'm going to take out these Torx 15 screws here on the front right and front left to remove the lower panel. So it's pretty easy to get these out if you have an extension. Before you replace the motor, though, if you have an F11, the best thing is to confirm that your motor control board is okay and the blue wire that's coming to the motor control board between that and the control up in the top of the washing machine has a good connection, because that can also cause the F11. So right now I'm reaching in and I'm disconnecting the big wire assembly that hooks to the motor, pulling that out, and I'm also going to pull off the two little green ground wires, just pinch them and pull them back. There's also a zip tie that's connecting those wires to the motor, and I use some diagonal pliers, some snips, to snip that so I can get that off. I'm also pushing in on these little pins to get this wire harness out of the way just to create more room. Here's a link down here too to order that part, or to order the motor. If you have a multi-tester, there's a couple of tests you can do too with the old motor just to confirm that it's having trouble. You look for certain resistance values. So I just took off those ground wires. And this is the new motor. I'm hooking up the ground wires. I'm going to hook up the modular jack. Get that pushed in. Do want to make sure everything seats down really good. I'm going to slide that new motor into position, and then I'll be able to put the front panel back on. Once I get everything ready, put the front panel back into position, and then I'll put in those two screws. If you ever do any testing on the Duet and you don't have the panels in, it'll cause trouble because there's a little ground switch. If the ground switch isn't pressed in, the machine won't behave correctly, it won't be able to do much. So I'm testing these values. This is on the new motor, and I'm going between the first two pins at the top. Got a value of, I think it was 5.9, and then the bottom two pins, I think that was 114 ohms. Checking it with the existing motor that's in there. What I came to find out is the first two pins, I got 5.9, and then the next two pins down should have been the same value, but it was just open, so I think that circuit had burned up. Testing it on the new motor, I got the 5.9 on both the top two and the bottom two, and then on both motors, the very bottom two gave me about 114 ohms. So I think just half of the motor got burned out. The customer mentioned that they had been washing a lot of heavy things like blankets and bathroom mats, so it might have just burned out the motor a bit prematurely. I think they also mentioned, though, that this washing machine is about 10 years old, which is pretty good. So this isn't a critical step. This is just kind of fun to diagnose what happened with the old motor. And again, the first two pins from the top, if you put your ohm meter, should get about 5.9. Next two pins down should be about the same. But the old motor, the first two pins 5.9, next two pins were 0, or it was open, showing there was no continuity. So the little wires inside, one of them just burned up and broke. So with the F11 though, there can be, again, different reasons. Can be the motor, can be the little blue wires that go here at the bottom of the motor control to the left that go up to the central control unit at the top. So again, I'm just making sure that this modular connector is in there really tight and the two ground wires are in. Slide that new motor into place. Then I'm going to take the back panel off. I'm going to pull the machine out away from the wall. Make sure I put the front panel back in and get it secure. And then I'll take the back panel off by removing about 10 screws around the periphery. So I got that panel off. I got it moved to the side. Here's the little ground switch on this one too in the bottom right hand corner. You got to make sure you put all the panels back on before you do testing. So I just rotated the upper pulley and the belt came right off. I just removed the ground screw. I'm going to take now a 1/2 inch socket and a drive, and I'm going to rotate out this one screw that's holding on the motor. Pretty easy to do. So you get that zipped off, and then you're going to just grab the motor, support it with one hand underneath, and then use your other hand to pull it towards you, and it's going to come off of a series of pins. There's 2 pins on the right hand side holding it up, and you can get the motor out and away. Looking at the old motor, I do notice that there's a couple of terminals here on the right, 3 of them that look oxidized. They look like they got some kind of rust on them. Could have been contributing to why we weren't getting the proper readings. Might just be dirty terminals. So here's the new motor. We're putting it into position, and we're going to fit these pins on the motor into these holes that are on the tub. Get that into position, and then we'll go ahead and add that screw back in. And then we get the motor ready. We've already got it plugged in. We've got the front panel back on, got it plugged in properly. We just need to tighten up the screw, and then we'll add the belt back on. To get the belt on, we put it on the little motor pulley first, and then we bring it up over the big pulley. Gotta make sure I put that green ground wire back on too. There we go. Once we get the belt up on the big pulley, we'll just rotate the belt as we kind of guide that belt on, and it'll self-feed really easily. And we just want to spin it, make sure it's on there good. We'll get the back panel back on, and we are done. So here again is what the motor looks like, and this is a place you can get it pretty fast. We also have a link here coming up. And I hope this works well for you and you get your Duet washing machine working good again. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance so we can send you more videos.